Why from amidst a thorn bush? Why not another large tree? Why not a palm tree? Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, God said, Kosafti b'Torah. I wrote in Torah, referring to chapter 90 of Tehillim, Imoi anoichi b'tzara. I am with him in pain and distress. Heim nesunim b'shibud v'af ani b'sneh b'makom tsar. Lefichach mitay chasneh shekulei koitz. You want to know where I am found while the Jewish people are oppressed in an Egyptian exile? I am also, so to speak, oppressed. I am found in a thorn bush, which is a very uncomfortable, prickly place to be naturally. But imay anoichi b'tzara, I am with my people in their distress, in their agony, in their pain, in their misery and tears. That is the message of the sneh. You want to find me, you know where I am within a thorn bush, not in a stupendous, elegant, tall, beautiful, delightful tree, like the example of a tamara. I assume he gives that example because the dates, the fruits are delicious. I am rather in a thorn bush, in a painful place. Medrash Rabbah Shmois Beis. Shal Goy Echad Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha. The question we raised this morning, a Gentile asked Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha, Ma'ara Kadosh Baruch Hu l'daber Moshe mitay chasna. Why did Hashem speak to Moshe from a thorn bush? Amaloi, Rabbi Yeshua tells this Gentile, I guess he knew who he was dealing with. And let's say God appeared to Moshe in a carob tree, a boxer tree, or a shikma is a certain type of sycamore fig tree. You would also ask me, why this, why that? But I don't want to leave you without saying anything. So I'll tell you, Lama mitay chasneh, why from the sneh? Lelamdach, to teach you, she'ein makom panoi below shchina afilu sneh. To teach Moshe there's no place vacant without the presence of the Almighty, without the divine presence, even a sneh. Even a thorn bush, a physically lowly and humble tree filled with thorns, there too the Shechina exists. There's no space vacant in the world, in reality, without the divine presence, even a sneh. And then the Medrash Rabbah goes on to give approximately 9 or 10 different reasons for the revelation through the sneh. I quoted here another 2. Dover acher mitoy chasneh ramaz lo sheyichye me'eves shumshana keminyan hasneh. The numerology of the word hasneh, hey samach nun hey, is 120, which is the span of Moshe's life. And the Medrash Rabbah continues. Vayar v'ine hasneh boyer be'esh. Mikan namru, from here the sages said, Eish shel maila, a heavenly fire, maila lulavin v'sorefes. Ve'eino eichelas. It generates blooming, it generates flowers, it blossoms, it allows the tree to blossom, it burns, but it doesn't destroy, it doesn't eat it up, it doesn't consume it. V'hishchoyer, the fire is black. Eishal mata, a human fire, an earthly fire. Eina maila l'lovin, it's not going to generate or produce blossoming flowers. V'hiadum, it's going to be red. V'oicheles, it's going to eat up the substance it burns. V'eina sorefes, and therefore won't continue burning as long as it has something to consume. The moment it finishes, the fire is gone. Why did he show this to Moshe? Why was it relevant? Moshe was thinking, perhaps the Egyptians are going to destroy the Jewish people. So Hashem showed him, there's a fire that burns, but it doesn't consume that which it burns. Amar lo, he was telling Moshe, just as the bush is burning, but it's not being consumed and destroyed in the fire, this is the story of the Jewish people. The Jewish people are burning. The Egyptians are oppressing them, torturing them, enslaving them, subjugating them. They are burning. But don't ever think that they are going to be consumed, obliterated, destroyed, and decimated. That will not happen. Hasneh boyer ba'esh. In that sense, the Medrash is saying that Moshe Rabbeinu is observing not only the present of Jewish history of the time, but essentially the future, the destiny of the Jewish people, who sadly, tragically, and horrifically would burn, and often burn to a point that the rational human being would gaze at it and say, there is no future, there is certainly that this people is certain that this people will not survive, the snare will be consumed in the flames of hatred and poisonous venom and oppression and savage suffering. And Hashem is telling Moshe, just know that this snare will not be ukol. It will not be consumed, not in Egypt and not in the future. As I said, the same Medrash Rabbah gives another 9 or 10 symbolisms behind the burning bush vision, which anyone who wishes could look up in Medrash Rabbah, Parshas Shmos, on these psukim. Mechilta de Rashbi. Rabbi Yossi Aglili says, "Mipnei man nigla Hakadosh Baruch Hu mishmei marim vayimedaber Moshe mehasna." The same question. What's the point of this revelation? Mipnei shehu tahir she'ein umas ha'olam oisin oisei avodah zarah. The trees were ordinarily used for pagan idolatry. One exception was the thorn bush. Somehow, even the pagans didn't feel that the thorn bush is conducive to be worshipped. Maybe it was simply uncomfortable to handle. Or as the Das Kainim writes in Chumash, it's very hard to shape it, to carve it into tzlomim, into statues and getchkas. It doesn't lend itself to carving like the other gods. And therefore, it's the tree, it's the bush that God said, this will never become an avodah zarah. He could have used another tree that's not an avodah zarah, but this doesn't even have the potential. Nobody would even think of making an avodah zarah, and therefore it has a purity, and thus it's conducive for the Shekhinah to be revealed there. And the Mechilta de Rashbi again gives other reasons. So in the world of Medrash already, we have various reasons. A few we just addressed here. The one in Tanchuma, which is probably the most famous, as it's quoted in Rashi, Imoi anoichi b'tzara, I am found in the thorns of oppression. Number 2, the Shekhinah is everywhere, even in a thorn bush. Number 3, the Jewish people will never be destroyed, just like the snare. And number 4, it's a place of Tara where there's no avodah zarah. And again, there's many other reasons. The Klei Yok, the Sifarno, Rabbeinu Ovadia Sifarno, and the Klei Yoker suggest that it's actually an allegory for the Egyptian story. That Moshe Rabbeinu is going to hear from Hashem what he's going to do in Egypt. One plague after another plague after another plague. How long is this going to go for? So he says the Egyptians are going to burn, but they won't give up. The bush will not be destroyed. Pare will remain obstinate all the way till the end, and the mission will be accomplished of liberating the Jewish people amidst the entire story of the Exodus of Egypt. There was once a Jew who came to the Kotzker Rebbe, and he identified himself as an apikoros. He's a heretic. He says, that's not called an apikoros. You're not an apikoros. You want to know an apikoros? It's pirate. Your whole nation suffers terribly. The water becomes blood, and there's frogs, and there's lice, and there's wild animals, and there's darkness, and he still does not give in. He says, this is an apikoros. You'll get a little pinch. You'll already become a believer. So this is an apikoros. You're not such a heretic. This is the Sifarno's interpretation. The Klei Yoker gives a very, I don't know if the word is pessimistic or painful interpretation to the snah. I'll just share it with you. I guess it always has a timely lesson. The Klei Yoker says that God is telling Moshe, let me tell you about this people you're going to be dealing with. We have a very tough situation. And that is the whole world wants to destroy them. The fire is burning, but they are still like thorns. They're still busy biting each other. They're still busy pricking each other, perforating each other. He says they are still jealous of each other, fighting each other, gossiping about each other. He says, this Klei Yoker writes, the jealousy and the hatred among the Jewish people is among themselves is unparalleled by other nations. That's what the Klei Yoker writes on these psukim. And Hashem was telling Moshe Rabbeinu, he says, this is their greatest tragedy. Even when the fire burns, they see that the world does not like them. But nonetheless, they will not stop fighting with each other like thorns that sting and bite and stech and can't get along with each other. And I guess it's our generation that has to try to heal this. Be'ezer Hashem. So here we have just a little glimpse, and I say this again because we're not exhausting all of the interpretations at all, not even close, but we have a little glimpse of the various ways in which Chazal, our sages and the rabbis and the commentators throughout the generations, appreciated that the vision of the snare was not just a fancy, dramatic way of getting Moshe Rabbeinu's attention. Avraham didn't need it, and Noach didn't need it, and even the serpent, Avimelech and Lavan did not need these visions, but rather it was somehow an important message that Moshe Rabbeinu has to hear at this stage when he is about to become the first leader and the first Rebbe and the first redeemer of the Jewish people.